Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another night of racing here with us at Delta Racing League. As always, my name is Matt McAdams. I'm going to be bringing you guys the action from the commentator's booth this evening, and this evening we've got what should be a pretty exciting race on our hands. We're breaking up the routine a little bit with a super sprint race format. For anybody who doesn't know what a super sprint is, basically the same thing as a regular race, except there's two of them and they're half as long. So there will be two 30-minute super sprints for the racing this evening, which means if anybody was unhappy with the result of their first race, they will have another run at it. It also changes up kind of the strategy of the races, since you're not worried about, you know, stretching tires out or getting your refueling stops just right. You really can just go out there for 30 minutes and just race as hard as you can and look for the best result you can get. For anybody who's wondering, this is the first stream, but the second race. I was out of town last week for the season opener at Spa, but I do have the results right here in front of me. So winning the race last weekend was going to be Shu Chen, and wins with a 7-second gap to second place James Morris. Matt Byrne in P3, Mateus Alves in P4, M. Yaknis in P5, S. Acosta in P6, Sam Snelltrain in P7, there's a returning name we haven't seen in a little bit, Andrew Sear in P8, Juan Paredo in P9, and another new name here, M. Carrasco in P10. But that is going to do it for just a little pre-stream. We've just finished up the free practice session, and we're going to be getting into qualifying here in just a moment here. Let me find a car that's starting to make their way out onto the track. And it is going to be a split quali between the Pro and the AM class. The AMs will be let out for the first 10 minutes of qualifying, and then that will be followed by the Pros. The AM drivers will have until the end of that 10-minute period to set a valid qualifying lap. If they are still on one as time lapses, if I remember correctly, they are allowed to finish it and then bring it into the pits immediately following that lap. So right now it is the AM's time to get out there and start getting a feel for the track. Looks like it's going to be a nice day out there today. 37 degrees. Wow, that is actually a very, very warm day in Austin, Texas. Characteristic to where they're going to be, the region they're driving in. It is a scorcher out there. So maybe forget what I said about tires maybe not being so much of a... the car on the thumbnail forgot to get their track medals. Yeah. Oh, the irony of it. The irony of it. Right now, Joshua Worley out in front of the pack, getting his tires warmed up, getting the car figured out. Who else do we have out there right now? Let's take a look here. We've also got Steve Poe out on the track, followed by Mathis LePage right behind him. See who else is out there. Jonathan Biscotto is out there getting his car situated, getting this lap started. A couple packs of cars here. Let's see. We've got Chris Rise out in front of this one, being chased by a Ferrari, being driven by another new name to me. That's going to be Maldini. And one thing we're going to get to be showcasing. Oh, and we've got here an update in the chat. Kunos essentially removed graining from the game. Tire deg may not be too bad. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I really should probably have read through the patch notes a little more than I did. I should know things like that. Let's take a look over here. We got a couple of drivers just about getting ready to start their first hot lap of the race. Looks like Joshua Worley is going to be the first one to get the opportunity to do so. All right, and now crossing the line to start the first hot lap of this qualifying session at COTA. Joshua Worley now charging up the hill. So far, keeping things nice and tidy, it looks like. Out in the Honda, not taking advantage of the new cars that are going to be added in that most recent DLC. We got a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, and a Porsche, if that wasn't evident by the car selection by the drivers over there. Left that up there now. Let's go ahead and get back over to the quali overlay now. Joshua Worley doing a pretty good time, but it's looking like Timothy Jabadal might already be beating him around the first lap here. Another driver opting not to drive one of the newer cars in the DLC. Timothy Jabadal out in his McLaren. Nice British Racing green livery there. Up a 10th since the start of this lap. Let's see, we've also got Mathis LePage right now is up over half second. Nice run through there. Now through one of the more frustrating parts of the track, if you ask me. These couple of corners here, just like basically driving around a bunch of horseshoes. Hey, thanks for the shout out. Top tier wingman as always, Melon Pitch in the chat. Let's check in here with Joshua Worley coming up into the final corner, and we are about to have our first hot lap of the session. Although the split time over there might not be exactly what he wants to start on. He crosses the line with a 2:13, followed by Steve Poe with a 2:10. Let's see, we got a couple other drivers about to cross the line. There goes Timothy Jabadal with a fresh time across the line there, and that's going to be the new time to beat with a 2:08.7. And that is going to be the fastest time out of the AM drivers so far. Mathis LePage with a 2:09 that was invalid, unfortunately. Got a couple more drivers getting ready to come around the final bend. Look like Maldini here going to be the next one to set a quali lap. And across the line with a 2:15.0. That's going to be immediately followed by a couple more cars. Doesn't look like they were on valid laps, however. Take a look over at the 2:10 car of Chris Rise. Last lap was a 2:16. Let's see if he can improve on that. Ooh, doesn't look like he does. Misses the mark by just a little bit. Let's take a look over at Ryan Garrity's lap here. Almost up a second now as he's coming through the S's. And the AM's running out of time here to improve on those lap times. Still a good number of them waiting to set a valid one. Hot track and the 296 tire eater will be fun for them. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Ferraris handle that. I had heard about kind of poor tire life on these things. Gets around to BMW there. Ryan Garrity still looking very strong, up almost a second and a half now. 1.4, 1.5, there it is, 1.6, 1.7. He's continuing to find time. Now into the horseshoes. 1.7 seconds. He's now looking, maybe doing a 2:09 here. He's definitely getting close there around the, not the final bend, excuse me. Good lift there from the driver. Requires a lot of patience, this bit of the track. A little bit of a slide around that curbing there. Gets it back under control before the next apex. Good line through there. Now just the final corner to go. Up 2.2 seconds. And he is going to hang on to it. Almost 2.5. Will he get the 2.5? 2.3 as he crosses the line and will grab second place with a 2:08.9. Just 0.4 off first place. Take a look over at Troy Gooder here. Looks like, yep, just at the top of the hill there at the hairpin now, charging down the back straight. Get to unleash all of that top speed the BMW's got. Maybe not as fast as some of the other cars around, but a good good all-arounder. I always enjoyed driving the BMW. If I were to race GT3s and the new cars weren't there, I probably would be picking the BMW. But I'm a Ferrari stan, so, I mean, 296 the only car I can drive right now. A little bit wide there, but he's going to hang on to the green split. Timothy Jabadal is out there trying to go even faster, now 0.5 seconds up on his previous best, and is going to set fastest of the session again, as he's already up in first place. take a look over at Nico Roscosh. Half second up, trying to set a valid lap here. Coming around that same hairpin. Lost a little bit of time there, but still in that 2/10 range. Going to be enough for, well, I mean, any valid lap will be an improvement. But we are approaching the 10-minute mark here. In just a moment, the pros are going to be let out onto the track. And the AM qualifying session will come to a close here. Yep, and watching the pro cars come down off the jacks now as Timothy Jabadal does cross the line with the fastest lap of the session. Also over here of note, Maldini up almost 5 seconds on his previous best lap. And that is going to be very, very competitive if they can hang on to it. And crosses the line and sets, that's P4. That's a fantastic finish for them. And we can see they're off to the side, the pro drivers lining up in the pits, getting ready to start their laps. We'll go ahead and get our eyes on them as they are leaving the pits. That is going to be the AM session over. So congratulations to Timothy Jabadal for qualifying in P1 with a 2:08.227, followed by Ryan Garrity in P2 with a 1:10.365, and third place for the AMs going to be Steve Poe, who's still out on a lap, getting ready to bank it. And it will look like he's provisionally in third place. Got a couple more AMs out on the track. We've got Nico Roscosh over here. Currently sitting in P5. Steve Poe does not get that lap in, but Mathis LePage does cross the line with a 2:09.787, and that will get him on the board in fourth place. Jonathan Boscato also out there trying to set another clean lap here. 2/10 up currently. I don't think, is that enough for a position change? It's not, but it will be a personal best. Now Nico Roscosh up a half second. That will be enough for a position, maybe two. We might be looking at P4 here if he can just link up the last little bit of the track as he's coming through the horseshoes now. A little bit wide there, but gets it back in. And continues to find some time, now up 8/10. Great shot of that Ferrari coming around that corner there. You can see just how much it's slipping around as he's throwing it through these corners here. Still up 8/10 of a second, just 2 corners left to go. Nice wide line through there. Finds him another 10th, now just 1 corner to go. And this will be a massive lap. If he can hang on to that 1 second lead, that might be third place from Steve Poe, and it is. Nico Roscosh across the line with a 2:09.0 to snag third place, and look at that with a purple sector 2. You love to see it. And James Morris going to be the first of the pros to set a qualifying lap here. In the 666 Ferrari, and I gotta admit, that black livery looks mean. And here we go, the pros now crossing the line for the first time of this qualifying session. And we're gonna start to get some lap times in. We've actually got a yellow flag, it looks like. Or is that just because drivers are slowing down to give space? I think what we've got happening here is a bunch of drivers realizing they did not leave each other room on the outlap, and now they're all waiting around the first corner. Oh no, that's not good for them. I mean, perhaps props to them for knowing they needed to leave space, but that is unfortunate. That's gonna mess up a lot of people's laps there. Onwards though. Good shot of one of the new Porsches there working their way through the S's. You either love or you hate that part of the track. Wow, really engaging some slip angle there from the Porsche. Yeah, and he's gonna go ahead and leave that off to the side and let the other cars pass. James Morris still out there, but he does have some company in the form of Edgar Augusto right behind him. Is that Xu Chen? I believe that's Xu Chen in the Lamborghini. Just up, kind of nipping at his heels. Let's take a look. It is. Xu Chen took the win at Spa. We'll see if he's able to snag it here at COTA. Right now, James Morris doing a good job of fending him off, at least in qualifying, when these drivers are pushing just about as hard as they can. About to start getting some lap times across the board here. James Morris going to be the first one. And Xu Chen actually going to qualify in first place. James Morris with a 208.7, but Xu Chen with a 207.4. And that is not great news for James Morris, who now knows he's got a car almost a second faster than him right behind him. But even more impressive, Zach Doran across the line with a 207.1. And we might even see some 206s today. Couple more cars coming across the line now. We've got Edgar Augusto in with a 208, Andrew Sear with a 208.4, James Morris with that 208.7, Matthias Martinez with a 208.8, Ryan Garrity with a 210.3. That must not have been valid. Got a couple more times coming in. Ben Burchett there with a 208.3 in fifth place. I believe that's Ross Sparrow right next to him there with a 208.5. Pro Grid already looking pretty tight if we throw up those session best relatives there. You can see, yeah, we've got Zach Doran way far away up there with that 207.1, excuse me. But the rest of the field kind of all inside of 1 second of one another. Here it might be a little bit better if I throw up a personal best there. Let's take a look over at Matt Burns' lap here. 1.6 seconds, must have had a rough time on that first lap. And no valid lap here yet for Matt Burns, so this one's going to be it. 1.3 seconds. He did a 208.5 on his last invalid lap. Let's see, shaving about 1.25 seconds off of it does put him in contention for top 3 right now, though. Xu Chen out there with the purple border, 4/10 up on his previous best lap. That will be enough to snag first place around by just over 3/10. And across the line. And there it is. We've got new fastest lap by 1/10 of a second by Xu Chen with a 207.0.5. Or in, let's see, that's 5,700. So we almost are at the 206 mark for a couple of these drivers. Ben Burchett right now coming around the first little horseshoe there as we see one of the other Porsches dive out of the way. 0.7 seconds up on his lap, as is Andrew Sear, Javier Salazar, Michael Yaknis, and Mario Carrasco. Everybody's getting a little bit faster. Although that first lap for them was a little bit scuffed, so I would expect to see some improvements across the board here. But Ben Burchett now rounding the final corner. Half second up, loses a little bit of time in those last couple corners, but will still post an improvement, moving him up into 5th place with a 207.885. Zach Doran looking to get back his first place lap here. Looking at the comparison between him and Xu Chen. Looks like Xu Chen's got him beat just about everywhere except for Sector 1. Although that looks like a real, oh, that's last lap, not fastest lap. Hold on, folks. Let me get that fixed. There we go. So yeah, it looks like Sector 3 is where he's got him beat. Either Augusto here. Let's see, is that rounding coming into the horseshoes now? I don't know if that's what they're actually. What are they actually called? Those have got. It's got to have a name. It's got to have a name, and I should know it. I just see corner numbers. That's cool. All right. We're calling it the Horseshoes from now on. I renamed it. Somebody let Austin know. New fastest lap out of Xu Chen. Going to be the first 2:06 of the session. That is going to be a 2:06.800. And that is going to be a tough time to beat, folks. Matt Byrne in third place. Coming around the final corner. The harshness. Oh, I said horseshoes. Bungler 1 and Bungler 2. Yeah, well, they're named for things that ruin your lap, so that works. Let's take a look over at Andreas Speck here. Out in an Aston Martin. We got a couple of drivers opting not to drive the new cars. Gotta respect that. Mateus Alves also still looking to set a valid lap. There it is. Actually, right as I say that, he sets the time and lands himself in P8 with a 2:08.337. And that is going to be the end of qualifying as the timer lapses 0. Got a couple more cars out there trying to set faster laps. Looks like most are electing to go back in, but James Morris just shy of a half second up. See who else we got out there. Got Michael Yaknis out there looking to set a time, as is Andreas Speck. We were just looking at a little bit ago. 1.5 seconds up. Into, I believe that's going to be Bungler 2. I believe he is going to be one of the last to set a lap here. Got a couple others behind him in their laps. James Morris about to cross the line with a 2:08.142 as his new personal best. Andreas Speck gonna set a lap time here and gets himself up into 19th place with a 2:09.232. Take a look over at Ben Burchett, getting ready to finish up his lap. And I believe that is going to be the other driver there out in front of him. Are the only two still on the track. Just a minute left to go. They are running out of time to get across the line. They're gonna make it, but it'll be close. Ben Burchett going to cross the line now with the new personal best. Let's see if it nets him a position. It does. Moves him up into 5th place, displacing Andrew Sear with a 2:07.65. All right, and now we line up on the start-finish grid. All right, so I'm gonna. There's a new feature in my little broadcasting app. It should do my little grid walk for me. Let's see if it works. We're trial running this. Here we go. We're gonna go first to last. We're gonna go there and click start. So let's see if it does it. Oh, there we go. All right, so we got Xu Chen there in P1, qualified with a let's see. Oh, it's gonna just go ahead. Yeah. So Matt Byrne there in P2, followed by Zach Doran in P3. Qualifying in P4, just behind him, going to be Eder Augusta. Wow, last names are hard and it's going fast. Ben Burchett in P5, driving in one of the Porsches. Next to him is going to be Andrew Sear in P6, followed by that James Morris, qualifying in P7 in the Ferrari. Timothy Jabadal right next to him in a McLaren in 8th place, followed by Mateus Alves, also showcasing the new Ferrari, as is Luis Velez in P10. Javier Salazar in P11. A lot of Ferraris up towards the front. That's going to be Mateus Freitas in P12, followed by Ross Sparrow in P13. Samuel Acosta in P14. Matthias Martinez in P15 in a Lamborghini. Ryan Garrity in P16. God, I love the way that Ferrari looks. Nico Roscosh is also looking nice and clean there in P17, followed by Sam Snelltrain in the Porsche in P18, followed by Andreas Specht in P19, Michael Yaknis in P20, maybe Steve Poe in P20 or P21, excuse me, Mathis LePage in P22, Mario Carrasco in P23, new name for me, as is Guiza Maldini in P24, Chris Rise in P25, Nicholas Armijo in P26. It is a loaded grid. Jose Arthur in P27, Troy Guter in P28 in the BMW, followed by Javier Souza in P29, Joshua Woolley in P30. Melon Pitch, not getting a qualifying lap in, is going to be starting in P31, Abraham Hinojosa in P32, and Juan Paredo in P33. Although it looks like there's a 34th car. Nope, it just glitched out a little bit, but no worries there. There's our starting grid, and we've got 30 seconds until we get this race underway. Last opportunity for all the drivers to make any setup changes. Make sure they are saved. Make sure you've got your tire pressure set, everything figured out as we get ready to start the first of our 2 sprint races. We can see, wow, that Porsche really bouncing off the jacks there. Zach Doran running a really, really bouncy suspension. I don't know. But that is it. Now we start our formation lap. Oh, and we've already got one person starting from the pits. It's going to be Sam Snelltrain, unfortunately. And get my other camera set up here. Just one second. There we go. Let's go ahead and throw up the other camera just so we're keeping track of everything. Oh, let's get that leaderboard working again. Come on, Sim Up, do your thing. Maybe Sim Up isn't right. Hold on. Hold on. Technical difficulties, folks. Oh, man. Trying its hardest right now. Come on. There it goes. You see a couple of the drivers going for the squiggle route, trying to warm up those tires, although looking at the temperature out there, I'm not sure that's something they should be really concerned with. Right now we were reading 37 degrees outside and 42 on the track. There's the leaderboard that finally decided to wake up. And look at that grid, ladies and gentlemen. We have 33 cars starting this race today, and we can see just how many of them there are as they line up on that back straight. But pretty soon here, they're going to be getting the order to line up double file and get ready to start this race. Sam Snelltrain going to be starting from the pits. A little bit of difficulties there out on the start grid, so unfortunately going to have to wait for everybody to start the race before he can leave the pits. At least he doesn't start a lap down like he used to. That was brutal. and as the drivers round the second to final corner, they'll be given the instruction to start lining up double file and get in their starting positions. Go ahead and use this as the final opportunity to thank everybody who has tuned in so far. We are just about to get this race started. We are just waiting for everybody to get lined up, and then we are going to kick off race 2.1 of season 13. And in any second now, as the drivers round the final corner, we just wait for them to get to that checkered line at the start of the straight, and then we will begin this race. And there we go, the green flag waves as the lights illuminate and we begin the charge up the hill. We can already see almost 5 cars wide coming up into turn 1. Let's see, it looks like Xu Chen runs it a little bit deep in on the outside. That's going to open the door to Zach Doran passing on the inside. Now Matt Burns right up on his inside, and we've already got some contact there in the back of the grid, and one Mercedes spun around at the top of turn 1. As the race through the middle of the pack starts to really pick up, let's go ahead and get the cameras over there and take a look at the top-down view. Look at just how close they are. Some cars too wide there. Looked like Luis Velez left on the outside. But right now, Zach Doran getting a good run away from Xu Chen as we watch 2 wide on the outside there. Ryan Garrity and Andreas Specht. Oh, and there's huge contact. Uh-oh. Oh, we've got big problems there in the back of the grid. Let's go ahead and go to that replay and see if we can't see what kicked that off. Hold on one second, folks. Right about here is where it starts. Let's see what happens. It's very crowded in there. Is it going to actually show us a collision? I don't think it's going to. There it is. Oh no, and we just get a little bit overextended there, and it just becomes a collection fest. Oh, you hate to see it. The stewards are not going to enjoy looking at that later. Let's take a look at another battle over here we've got developing in the middle of the grid. Andrew Sear on the defense trying to get to Mateus Alves while fending off Timothy Javidal right behind him. Mateus Freitas right behind him as well. Make this a very, very tight battle for position. Let's go ahead and put this back on race gaps. Excuse me, folks. We kind of have close battles all around the grid. Let's take a look over here behind Andreas Specht. As we almost go too wide through that corner, that Ferrari on the outside trying to find a way back in, almost gets caught out by that Lamborghini bouncing back onto the track. Andreas Specht doing a good job of keeping this battle behind him. Oh, and we see a Lamborghini really go for the dive up the outside there. Almost able to make it stick. Oh, and we get a car spun around and into the wall. Looks like a BMW. No, it is the Aston Martin of Javier Souza in the wall there, unfortunately. But keep your eyes on Juan Barreto as he comes up into this corner. Goes for the inside. Oh, and there's huge contact. Oh, no, right into the side of Andreas Specht. Gets collected, as does Juan Barreto, causing that accident. And Troy Guter, it looks like, also suffers a bit of a hit there. Oh, you hate to see it, but man, I'm glad I got that on camera. Ryan Garrity under some fire as well. Looks like Javier Salazar right behind him, as is Samuel Acosta. See just how much the cars have to slow down there, and they're just getting within inches of one another coming through there. But looks like we have another pack of cars beginning to develop over here. My goodness, look at that! As they come into the hairpin, almost running into one another, still too wide here at the back of the grid. It's going to be Abraham Hinojosa out in front of this, but look at this right behind him. It looks like Joshua Worley and Nico Roscosh are side by side, charging down the back straight. We've got 2 packs of cars now, 3 going too wide through here. Oh, the Ferrari runs out of room there coming into turn 1. Excuse me, no, that's the Honda of Joshua Worley, and it is really tight back there, ladies and gentlemen. Ross Sparrow keeping his nose in it and requiring a lot of bravery from the drivers to stick this close through one of the more technical bits of the track, but they are doing it. We are only on lap 2 of this race, and things are really starting to get exciting. Joshua Worley on the outside there, trying to find a way back in, has to dart to the outside to avoid getting caught by the cars behind him. Maybe a little bit cautious there and loses a few more positions than he should have, but everybody keeps keep going on this lap without another collision in the back of the pack. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Juan Pareto on the inside, Ross Sparrow left hung out to dry. Now coming into the final corner, Ross Sparrow looks to the inside. It gets closed down by the number 6 Ferrari out in front. He's got an AMG behind him. He's got 2 behind him. Excuse me, Michael Yaknis and Nicholas Armillo going side by side as they race up the hill. And look at how close to that is. Nicholas Armillo looks to the inside, coming up the hill. He goes late onto the brakes into turn 1. It is now 3 wide and runs out of room. We've got cars off wide, and unfortunately Juan Pareto gets spun around and righted again by the McLaren Mercedes next to him. And Michael Yaknis has got a little bit of floppy hood syndrome as we see another Lamborghini spun around there. And that is going to be Matthias Martinez there on the outside. Man, and I am almost running out of breath because it has been non-stop action, only 2 laps into this race. Ooh, a little bit of contact there sends Chris Rise to the outside. We have another car spun out. Oh, and facing the wall at one of the worst spots of the track. Abraham Hinojosa also getting spun around. Let's check in with our race leaders, though, because Xu Chen has closed down the gap to Zach Doran. And it looks like Matt Byrne not far behind him as we see a great move there by Xu Chen on the inside. Puts him right on the rear tire of that Porsche. And that's going to set him up for a good follow through here. Looks like the Lamborghini on that inside line. Ooh, and he is very, very close there. We see almost a little bit of oversteer from Xu Chen's car there, but gets it back under control. He's looking for a way around and just has not found it. And unfortunately, a drive-through penalty goes to the number 71 car for speeding in pit lane. And that is going to be Andreas Specht. We also got another close battle developing behind James Morris here. Looks like James Morris in front, Eder Augusto behind him, Mateus Alves and Andrew Sear all in this pack of 4 cars. Mateus Alves there losing a little bit of space through those corners. James Morris getting chased down by that is going to be Eder Augusto. Man, I don't know why I'm struggling with that last name. I apologize. I'm just bad at names. I'm just embracing it. Get a great shot of the cars there through that fast corner as they come down into one of the, it is the slowest corner on the track. That hairpin at the end of the straight opens up into the back straight. Let's take a look over here. Melon Pitch working his way up the field, starting 13 positions down. I believe it was 31st. Yeah, in 31st place now, already up to 18th. Good shot of the Lamborghini, gets a great line through the inside, and that opens the door to make that move on Jose Arthur as they charge down the back straight. That does look like Melon Pitch getting the move done. Not quite out of it yet, though. Is going to have to defend from the Porsche going into this next one. Hard onto the brakes for them both. And it does look like Melon Pitch going to hang on to that position. Ooh, Porsche gets very close on the next one, though. I can't look away yet. Now charging through the next set of the horseshoes there. A little bit wide for Melon Pitch, but there's not going to be an easy pass for the Porsche on the outside. Oh, and they do definitely touch there. But a little bit of a bump draft there for Melon Pitch. Porsche almost sliding around that corner, gets it back under control again. He's really pushing that car as hard as he can. But Melon Pitch, there we go, starts to put some distance between the two of them through these next couple of corners. And I think we can say that is the move done as I see another yellow flag waving. It looks like two cars just go off a little bit wide there up the top of the hill in turn one. Let's take a look at Maldini as he's looking to make a pass on this Porsche. I think he's going to get the move done there on Jose Arthur. That's a good move there, but out a little bit wide and lets the Porsche get the run on him on the outside. And that is going to be the move undone there by Jose Arthur with a good defense. Take a look here, Andrew Sear and Matheus Freitas. Oh, and actually, no, we're going to take a look up here at Zach Doran and Xu Chen. My goodness, and Matt Byrne right there behind him. Ooh, and he's really pushing him as Matt Byrne is slowly closing down that gap as well. Let's go ahead and let's get the onboard here with Matt Byrne, since he'll have a good look at what's going on in front of us. Let me get this queued up 1 second, folks. Actually, I think I'm going to go to Xu Chen. I want to see him chasing down. There we go. Wrong car focus. Come on, cameraman. What are you doing? You can't see him in that shot anyways, but now there we go as they charge up the hill into turn 1. Let's see if that Lamborghini can do something. Looks like he's going to try on the outside, get the cut back in. Doesn't work. That Porsche out in front of him is just a little bit too quick through there. And you can listen to the engine note there, just how much lifting the drivers have to do to try and get these cars around the corners as fast as they are. And you can also see just how much they're bouncing around on this track. This is a very, very difficult track, folks. There's definitely a rhythm you need to be in order to get through there successfully. And it looks like all three of them doing it very, very well. Let's go ahead and look elsewhere on the track, though. We've got a couple of other very, very close battles for position. Oh, and actually, right as I'm saying that, they kind of space back out, so let's keep our eyes on this. Here we go. Matheus Alves and Samuel Costa are going to go too wide into the hairpin. Ooh, and really hopping that curb goes the Porsche. And that is going to kind of alleviate some of that pressure on Matheus Alves and put Samuel Costa 1 second back. Also got some action going on here. Still in the back of the pack, it is still pretty much a single file line of cars here for the majority of them. And the Porsche real late on the brakes and gets the dive through there on Nico Roscosh. That was quite the move there. There we go. We can see, I don't remember whose Aston Martin that is on the outside there. Oh, that's Andreas Specht. And he's going to be blue flagged and unfortunately caught right in the middle of this. Ooh, Michael Yaknis goes out a little bit wide, and that opens the door to Nico Roscosh to get on the outside of him. Does look like he filters in behind him. Oh, and we got a yellow flag for Mellenpitch. Uh-oh, facing the wrong way on the track there, as he just has to watch all of these cars get around him. And he has to make all of that progress back up. Front of that Ferrari has seen better days, but Matheus Alves keeping it out there almost to the halfway mark of this race. Here into the hairpin now. Gets very, very close between Mateus Alves and Samuel Acosta there, but they managed to keep the cars from hitting one another. But Eder Augusto, wow, Augusto. My goodness, Matt. I don't know why that is so hard for me. Augusto there. It's really closing down the gap to that Ferrari out in front. As the Ferrari goes out wide, Mercedes looks to the inside. Thinks better of going for the move there as Mateus Alves gets caught by the switchback and goes into the side of Eder Augusto. They're still side by side racing around this corner there. Ooh, and the Mercedes gets a good lunge on the outside there, has the apex to fend off the attack from the Ferrari, and that is going to be the move done by Augusto. Ooh, and it looks like Salazar also able to get a good move there on the inside on Alves. Wonder if that damage we're seeing to the front of the Ferrari was affecting his ability to steer. Might have been getting a little bit of understeer there, and that made that pass pretty easy. Mario Carrasco here closing in on P13 Steve Poe. Closing down that gap just a little bit more. A good T1 for both drivers, but the Porsche closes down that gap now inside of 3/10. Ooh, we also might have a pass in the making here. Sam Snelltrain and Nico Roscoe. Oh my goodness, we just caught a lot of lag there. Where did Nico go? What just happened? I hope that looked as weird for everybody else as it did for me. That's all I'll say. Let's take a look a little bit farther back in the grid here. Jose Arthur and Troy Guter getting pretty close to one another as well. Porsche versus BMW. The BMW trying to make a move on the outside here. Doesn't find a way to make it work, though. Now they charge down the hill into the hairpin. Ooh, really overcooks it on the outside there. Porsche goes very wide. Fortunately, the BMW not really there to capitalize on it. Check back in with these two later. Let's take a look at Mateus Alves again, is under fire from Javier Salazar now. Ooh, and the 48 car gets a drive-through for track limits. That's going to be Matias Martinez. Check in with our race leaders. Zach Doran and Xu Chen are still fighting by just mere tenths as we see a big move there by the Lamborghini on the outside. Let's go to the helicam so we don't miss this. And in the course of 2 turns, Xu Chen is right now on the inside of that Porsche. Zach Doran doing a good job of fending it off as the Lamborghini almost loses the back end and almost slides into Matt Byrne. But Matt Byrne keeps the car in control and is able to kind of sneak his way past Xu Chen. And Zach Doran getting a little bit of relief for the first time in a little while. Xu Chen not wasting any time closing down that gap to Matt Byrne just in front of him. And we are approaching the 10-minute mark. We are already almost 2/3 of the way through this race. Let's go ahead and take a look back here. Steve Poe and Mario Carrasco go too wide through, what is this? They're coming into that first horseshoe. Where'd Mario Carrasco go? Uh-oh. He misses braking marker. He must have. Runs it out way wide, and that's going to let Steve Poe through. And now he's got Ryan Garrity behind him. Sam Snell train at the front of a train of 4 cars here. Again, Sam Snell train starting from the pits there has worked his way back up to P20, only 2 positions off his starting position. So he is definitely having a good race. Let's see where Millen pitches at. Still recovering down in P28. Ooh. Well, Pareto coming into that final corner just a little bit hot. And it does look like Nicholas Armijo is there to capitalize on the mistake, but they are still side by side, actually. Does look like Nicholas able to get just a little bit of room in front of him coming into turn 1. And it looks like, yeah, he is going to hang on to that. And we have a yellow flag for Joshua Worley. Maybe just a little bit on the inside there through the final corner. Not sure what's up with that, but Mario Carrasco is caught back up to Steve Poe. And there's the final warning there for Javier Salazar. Has got to serve that drive-through. Ooh, Mario looks to the inside for the move. It looks like he may have gotten his Steve Poe on the inside on the switch back in, though. And it is going to be wheel to wheel as they come into the next corner. Ooh, Porsche on the brakes there to let Steve Poe around. And yields the position. Not too many more opportunities to do that, though, because Ryan Garrity has now gotten to be a part of this battle. He's gotten around. That would have, let's see. No, I'm confusing my cars. No, never mind. Never mind. But yeah, no, Ryan Garrity really nipping at the heels of Mario Carrasco as he runs to the inside. And drops back a position. Looks like we just missed that off camera. Oh, and then oh no, and then a big slide. He's gonna leave him on the inside trying to get back on the track. Uh-oh, I see a lot more yellow flags. That's not good. Oh no. Oh no, what happened? I'm gonna go back. We're gonna chance the replay here. Because that was a lot of yellow flags and a disconnect. Oh no, and the car is just parked in the middle of the track. That's not good. That's not what you want to see. Got another 2-wide battle here. It's going to be between Mateus Alves and Javier Salazar, who looks to be just inching in front of him. Oh, and they big touch. And that is going to put Mateus Alves straight into the wall, just straight to jail. And that is a big hit for Mateus Alves, and he's going to continue driving it. Action up here at the front of the grid. Andrew Sear gaining a position on Mateus Freitas in the final corner there. You're going to see that as Andrew Sear out in front of him in the sky blue Porsche. When it looks like Mateus Alves is going to go ahead and pit the car, but let's take a look at the front runners here as Matt Byrne really getting too close to Zach Doran. And he is not holding anything back there. Maybe a quarter of an inch between those two cars there when we snapped the camera over. Ooh, looks like the Ferrari might be setting up for the switchback. Let's see if he gets the power down. Oh, it's gonna be close. Looks like he had to back off just a little bit to avoid going into the Porsche, who is trying to drag him off into the marbles to break the draft there. Let's see how this plays out. Matt Byrne gonna look to the outside. And tries to set up the racing line, but that Porsche just expertly positioned to where Matt Byrne could not make that move. And there we go. Now just 5 minutes remain in this race. Maybe 2 more laps of this track as we watch our front runners here trying to duke it out for first place. Matt Byrne is right there, but unfortunately for him, so is Xu Chen now as these three start. It's probably going to be the second to final lap of the race. Although looking at their lap times, there may be 3 laps left. Ooh, Matt Byrne really carrying a lot of speed through there. Has to back off a little bit so as not to plow into Zach Doran. And Xu Chen just sitting behind waiting for his opportunity to strike. Ooh, and gains a lot of ground there going through the S's. There's Steve Poe clears his drive through there. We've got another yellow flag for Melon Pitch. Looking at where he is on the track map, I think he may have had a little bit of an off track there, but it doesn't look like it's anything too bad. Oh no, and as I do that, he spins it, the commentator's curse. Oh no, my boy. Tried to get the camera off of him in time. I should have known better. And the number 6 car going to pick up a drive-through for track limits. That is going to be Juan Paredo. Matt Byrne looking to try and make the pass on this lap. They might have an additional lap after this one. We'll see. They are catching up to some slower traffic. We'll see if they do that this lap or not. But that could shake things up in this battle for first place. Oh, it looks like a mistake there out of Zach Doran. Runs way inside, gets it back on the track before Matt Byrne and Xu Chen can get to him, though. Ooh, they're not going to be happy about that one, but no incidents there. Take a look at that rear wing shot of Matt Byrne right there behind him. Matt Byrne goes for the late brakes on the inside. Almost runs out of room. And it's something I think is worth drawing our attention to is looking at the last lap times of these drivers. They've basically been on top of each other more or less the entirety of the last 3 laps, just barely just trading tenths, really. Ooh, and a stop and go 30 to the numbers. Ooh, and we see that's Jose Arthur there spun around in the middle of the horseshoe. Ooh, and Matt Byrne goes for a move on the inside. Zach Doran's not there to defend it. And in the second to final corner, Matt Byrne makes a pass. It looks like Xu Chen's gonna have a try. Oh no, and a disastrous couple of corners there for Zach Doran, but both Xu Chen and Matt Byrne found their way through as the leaders start the final lap. This is gonna be it, ladies and gentlemen. No more opportunities left. The stakes have never been higher for Zach Doran. He's got just 1 lap left to try and get back to first place. Matt Byrne only has to stay there. Oh, and catching up to some slower traffic. That's going to be Joshua Worley there in the Honda. And he does just leave it to the outside and lets the faster cars through. Love to see that. And it's something I want to point out, even though there's not really a lot of attention being given to it, there are still a lot of very close battles all throughout this grid that have been being fought for a while now. Ben Burchett here fending off James Morris for what's got to have been at least the last 5 laps. Andrew Sear and Matheus Freitas also in a similar position, as is Augusto right behind those two. And we've got a couple of close battles back here. Steve Poe looking to get the jump on Nicholas Armijo coming around the final corner. And actually, I think we might have just stumbled upon a pass in the making here. We'll see if Steve Poe goes for it in turn 1. The late brakes might be the difference between a position gained or not. Oh, and it really tightens down up there, but Steve Poe on the inside. Let's see, the Mercedes might have the... Yep, he gets the speed on the cut back in. But let's check in with our race leaders, as they're going to be getting pretty close to ending the final lap of this race. Xu Chen in P2. Trying to get in front of Matt Byrne is just not going to have enough time to make it happen. But that looks like it is going to be Matt Byrne in P1. Let's see, there are 2 corners left, and Zach Doran dropping back. And here we go, rounding the final corner is going to be Matt Byrne in P1, Xu Chen in P2, and Zach Doran in P3. As the leaders finish that race. My goodness, and it really did come down to the final lap there. Ben Burchett and James Morris very close to one another, but are going to finish in P4 and 5. Let's find Andrew Sear. Rounding the final corner, behind him is Matheus Freitas. And then Edgar Augusto and Timothy Jabadal finishing in P8 and 9. Samuel Acosta to round out the top 10. See Javier Salazar going to be the next car to cross the start-finish line. Will finish in P11. Followed by Ross Sparrow just behind him in P12. Ryan Garrity in P13. Coming around the final bend now. Mathis Page coming around the final bend now. Sam Snelltrain and Nico Roscosh battling it down to the wire, as are Steve Poe and Nicholas Armijo. It does look like Steve Poe managed to find his way around during that last lap and is going to hang on to the position down to the start-finish line in P17, with Nicholas Armijo right behind him in P18. Troy Guter going to cross the line now in P19, and Mellon Pitch going to finish in P20. 11 positions up, but with a couple of incidents. But he does have a second race to try and make up for it. And we'll see if he's able to clinch up a better result on the next race. Mateus Alves right behind him, though, so this race is not over yet. Yeah, I see one of the drivers in the chat. That was a rough rejoin. We did catch a little bit of it on the cameras in a replay, but yeah, it's not what we want to see, and I'm sure that'll be reviewed by the stewards. But that is the end of race 1. I'm not sure what we're waiting on for the session to flip, but congratulations to Matt Byrne finishing in P1, Shu Chen in P2. Why does it have Ben Burchett in P3? That's weird. Zach Doran was in P3. Oh, he got a 30-second time penalty. When did that happen? Oh, that's very interesting. I didn't see that penalty get that shakes things up quite a bit. So now Ben Burchett in P3. James Morris in P4, Andrew Sear in P5, Matthias Freitas in P6. Eder Augusto in P7, Timothy Jabadal in P8, Samuel Acosta in P9, and Zach Doran in P10. Interesting. Where did that come from? I'm going to have to watch the replay and see where he got that from, but right now we're just waiting for the session to flip. Yeah, it was a good race, Maldini. You're definitely out there pushing. You had some great moments, and we did catch, I think, 1 or 2 of them on camera. But that's why there's race 2. You know, you can always get back out there and try again. But there we go. Now it's got the same 3-minute timer. We're waiting on the next round to start. Go ahead and get rid of that. But while we're hanging out, thoughts on the first race? I was interesting. It definitely had a spicy start. We had a lot of contact in the first couple laps of that race, especially towards the back of the field. So hoping to see maybe just a little bit cleaner racing in the early stages of this race. Give everybody an opportunity to, you know, have their entire race uninterrupted. And I get incidents are a part of racing, but that one was rough. There's a lot of contact there. Also, we'll get to see how Sam Snelltrain does. Hopefully not starting from the pits this race. Just remember to hit drive this time, my man. Let's take a look over here. Yeah, I also caught that. I don't know what was what was up with that, but I did notice there was a red flag waving instead of the checkered one. So, I mean, does that mean that technically they never... Well, no, because races finish in red flag. So, I mean, they would have finished the same order they were in. So I guess they still finished P1, 2, 3, but not as fancy, not as official. I appreciate it there, Anthony. There's unfortunately not a lot to talk about in between races. I wonder if there's a way to maybe make race 2 not have quite as long of a session start. But I suppose it's good for the drivers because that gives them an opportunity to make any changes that they would have wanted to make during race 1. And looking at how a lot of the cars were sliding around out there, I think everybody's running a pretty... Let's see. You think it might have been for the 30-second penalty? Oh, I bet you're right. I bet you are. Yeah, that's got to be it. I'm really curious where he got that 30-second penalty, though. He must have picked up like a track limits warning right at the end of the race. That's the only thing I can think of. Well, but anyways, here we go. We're going into race number 2 here. So anybody who didn't like race number 1, guess what? You get another one. And I think that's probably more of a saving grace to the drivers. But we had a very interesting top 3 finish there. Zach Doran was in first place the majority of the race and fell off just in the final couple laps there. Again, Matt Burns starting in P2 wins it for the previous race. Xu Chen in P2. Although we've got people kind of bouncing all over the grid right now. Race 1 went to Matt Byrne, followed by it was Xu Chen in P2 and Zach Doran in P3. We're almost finished up with this formation lap. Get race 2 kicked off here. You can see the race leaders now beginning to line up double file. I think I'm going to shake things up here. Let's go to the helicam here for the front runners. I think that gives us just a little bit more. Actually, no, I don't know. I'm trying to think which camera was the best up at the top of the hill. But I think we're just going to send it with what we've got because I've run out of time to experiment. So here we go. We're now all lined up, double file, walking our way down the start-finish line here. And any second, we will see those lights illuminate, the green flag drop, and we'll get race 2 here at COTA underway. And there we go. There's the call out for the drivers to start going. We see Matt Byrne go to the inside real early. Xu Chen to the outside. As we come up into turn 1, we're already like 3-4 cars wide. And Matt Byrne on the inside looks like he gets the move done. And it is basically a parking lot for the rest of the field there up in turn 1 as we watch the 2 race leaders go wheel to wheel around the outside. Matt Byrne runs it a bit wide. And he does get the move done. That's Matt Byrne up into P1. And now Xu Chen trying to chase him down. But Matt Byrne doing a great job of building some space there. Really giving Xu Chen an opportunity to close up on him. Let's go ahead and look. Let's consolidate that down to 1 camera here. Take a look at the middle of the grid here. You see there Ben Burchett, and I don't recognize the Lamborghini there. Going too wide, coming into the hairpin. Oh, and there's huge contact, goes into the back. I believe that's Timothy Jabadal and Andrew Sear now parked on the outside waiting for their opportunity to rejoin. Ugh. Come on, boys. Xu Chen and Zach Doran going side by side into the final turn. Oh, excuse me, no, that's the end of that back straight. And Sam Snelltrain still in the pits. Wait, did he not start again? Weird. Oh, he disconnected. Huh. Let's take a look back here. We got all sorts of action going on in the back of the field here. Kind of hard to keep track of it all. Oh, look at that. We got too wide there through that corner behind him. That's going to be Mario Carrasco and Steve Poe. Again, these two cannot get apart from one another. Boy, the split times are really janking out on me over on the side, kind of making it difficult to keep track of what's going on. Let's see if I can fix that. This might make it worse, I don't know, but this is unwatchable. Oh, we've got a big yellow flag. Hold on before we go to that. What just happened? Oh boy. Ben Burchett and Matthias Martinez here. Oh, and they're side by side in turn one. Yikes. Ben Burchett backs up onto the track and gets it moving. Yikes. Looks like the splits figured themselves out though, so that's nice. Not for Matt Byrne and Xu Chen for whatever reason. How are they doing? Let's take a look back here. Mateus Freitas starting to put some pressure here on Ryan Garrity. If they come down the back straight, he will be in striking distance. Nico Roscosh right behind him as well. Porsche getting very, very close to Ryan Garrity. And is just not able to find the room to make it happen. With this many cars around, it's kind of hard to really, really push. You're just counting on the car in front to make a mistake. Let's take a look back here. We've got a three-car battle behind Abraham Minajosa. You see Millen pitch in the middle of that. This is Matthias Martinez and Javier Salazar. Salazar really beginning to apply the pressure to Hinojosa. Looks like very, very close action going on back here. Matthias Martinez on the outside there gets jumped. Or, sorry, it's Javier Salazar. The Aston Martin. That's just gonna go to car names. My goodness. We also see, let's see the Ferrari on the inside up there on the Lamborghini. And it looks like, oh my goodness, what in the world happened there? Huge hit to Sosa by Jose Arthur. What in the world was that about? Millen pitch getting his way around Hinojosa now. Matthias Martinez has caught up to Javier Salazar now. Ooh, a little peek to the inside there and then back on the outside for the cutback in, and that's avoidable contact, boys. Man, I know, okay, I have long maintained that the commentator has no place to try and express their opinion on incidents, but I mean, it has just been all day, both of these races. Everybody's hitting each other. Samuel Acosta beginning to line up an attack here on Michael Yaknis. The rest of the field is pretty well spaced out. Matt Byrne with the new fastest lap of the session, 2:07. Ooh, and immediately snagged by Xu Chen by over a tenth with a 2:07.267. Ooh, looks like we got a car into the pits. Mateus Freitas going to be the car in. Oh, he might be abandoning the race there. Towed back to the pits. Uh-oh. Samuel Acosta really applying the pressure to Michael Yaknis now. And it looks like they have caught up to Andreas Speck as well. Coming down into the hairpin here. Really not a lot of room for any of the cars to try and make an attempt on anybody there. Let's take a look back at the pack. Wow. Look at this little accordion unfolding over here. That is a very damaged Mercedes in the hands of Nicholas Armillo. Not sure what happened there, but he's got a bad case of the floppy head syndrome. It looks like Javier Salazar in Millen pitch barely avoiding getting rear-ended there by Nicholas Armillo. My goodness. A scary track to be on today. Mario Carrasco and Andrew Sear chasing down Maldini. And after talking to Maldini's team just a little bit ago, he does not want to be anywhere close to that Porsche behind him. So he's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit. Andrew Sear really applying the pressure to Carrasco. They almost touched there. Some good awareness from both of them. Andrew Sear on the outside. Looks like he might have the run on him if he can keep the power down. That's going to be the move done now into the final corner. Oh, and he spins it. Oh, that's a bummer. Did they touch and I just barely missed it? Hold on. I might have. I don't think I did. Oh well, we're past it. Andreas Speck doing a great job here of keeping up with Luis Velez. We've got almost kind of a little five-car battle here. It's going to be Luis Velez in 8th, Andreas Speck in 9th, Michael Yaknis in 10th, and Samuel Acosta in P11. Bit of a mistake there from the Aston Martin, runs it out wide and a little bit slow, but the Ferrari not able to get the pass done. But he is right there on that rear bumper. Actually able to get a little bit of space from the Ferrari there on the straights there. Fastest lap from Matt Byrne now with a 2:06, first one of the race. Samuel Acosta looking to make a move on the Mercedes up into turn 1. Oh, that Mercedes almost goes into the side of Luis Velez there. Let's take a look back a couple of cars here. We got a little bit of a battle developing. Actually, as I say that, Nico Roscosh makes a move and gets just back in front of Mathis LePage, who's chasing him down. to the hairpin. Maldini's got Carrasco behind him. And let's go back up to this battle here. Oh. Andreas Speck defending on the inside there on the switch back in, though. The Porsche looks like he might be gaining. But that outside line is going to be slow. And we're going to keep our eyes on this pack here for just a little bit. Looks like Mathis Lepage gets the move done on Nico Roscosh. Ooh, a little out wide. Ooh, and we've got a car spun around and nudged back in the right direction by Michael Yaknis. As these two go side by side, and the Porsche on the inside might have it. Aston Martin goes very wide, has more speed, is going to have the inside coming to this next corner, and he gets the position back. It's not over yet, though. He goes into the final corner again, too wide, side by side. Porsche on the inside, though, gets the better exit. And now it is going to be Ross Sparrow 7, Andreas Speck 8, going up into the hill to see what happens in turn 1. Good line there from Speck. Oh, and we see a car spun around. I believe that's going to be Luis Velez. We missed if there was contact there that caused it. Update on our race leaders since we aren't getting the split there for some reason. It does look like Matt Byrne has pulled at least a 1 second gap to Xu Chen in second place. Zach Doran 1.2 behind him. May even be almost 2 seconds now. Number 48 picks up a drive-through for track limits. And that is going to be Matthias Martinez. Andreas Speck right behind Ross Sparrow as they go wheel to wheel down the back straight into the next corner. Porsche on the inside, Aston on the outside. Let's see what happens here. Good move there, kind of closes down the apex and forces Ross Sparrow inside. And you'll be able to stay out in front. Page and Roscosh very close to one another as well. As it looks like LePage just barely out in front of the Ferrari behind him. And the number 15 car will also pick up a drive-through penalty for track limits. And it looks like, oh, Matthias Martinez is going to retire on that penalty. As we go, that is the halfway mark. Let's take a look at Samuel Acosta and Ross Sparrow. Looks like Andreas Speck able to get away from them a little bit. And now it is between Sparrow and Acosta. Porsche versus Porsche for 8th place. We've got some action back here. Looks like Maldini getting passed in turn 1 by Andrew Sear. Ooh, and we've got an update in the battle for the top 3. It does look like Zach Doran has gotten around Xu Chen. Nico Roscosh on the inside of LePage through the hairpin. It looks like they're going to come out side by side, but the Porsche pulls out in front. Ryan Garrity chasing down another Ferrari driven by Luis Velez, up 4 positions since the race start in P12. Ooh, and the number 15 car has one more lap to serve that drive-through. That's going to be Mateus Alves. Let's take a look back at Andrew Sear and Mario Carrasco. Andrew Sear closing the gap down to Carrasco out in front for 17th place. Here we go, wheel to wheel. Oop, wrong car. Looks like we're gonna miss the pass there because cameras were acting up, but Andrew Sear makes a great pass on the inside. So just so we don't miss it again, here's the replay. We've just gone back 30 seconds in time because I don't want to miss that. So here we go. As we saw, it is a drag race through the front straight, now charging up the hill. Andrew Sear gonna go to look to the inside. Brakes just a little bit later and is able to get his nose out in front before the apex, and that is going to be the move done. That was a great pass there by Andrew Sear. Looks like Troy Guter trying to set up a pass here on Nicholas Armillo, who does look to have decided to just keep the damage there now with just 11 minutes left in the race. Don't know that I necessarily disagree. Let's see, Nicholas Armillo is, well, he's still up a position, so might be the right call. Looked like the BMW may have been trying to set up for a pass there. Decides against it. Let's take a look up here at Ross Sparrow. He's going to try and have another go at Andreas Specht. Take a look. We're looking at Nico Rosekosh here, trying to get around Mathis LePage. We've seen these two going at it for a little bit now. It looks like we might just get to see another attempt here by Nico. But Mathis LePage having a great drive today, up 9 positions since the start of race 2. And now we are inside the 10-minute mark, actually about to hit the 9-minute mark, and there is not a lot of race left. Hop up in the grid here just a little bit. Oh, actually, as I say that, I was going to go take a look at Samuel Acosta and Ross Sparrow, but it seems they've spaced back out. Let's take a look at Mateus Alves and, oh, actually, Javier Salazar and Juan Paredo getting very, very close to one another now. Let's see if Salazar goes for the move in turn 1. Nah, he's not close enough to try it. Ooh, but looks like the car out in front of him goes a little bit wide there. Might be able to reel him back in a little bit. We got a yellow flag on Ryan Garrity, though. We got a car very far inside there. Ooh, a big move there by Timothy Jabadal on the outside, and he gets the move done. My goodness, how about that for a pass, ladies and gentlemen? That green McLaren on the inside. Looks like he's not done yet, though. Now he's got Mathis LePage in his sights. Ooh, Timothy Jabadal goes a little bit deep there, but it looks like it works for him as he's able to get the power down on the outside, lines himself up well to defend this next apex. This man is on one, ladies and gentlemen. Timothy Jabadal there making up several positions in the course of a lap. As we watch these two now, side by side, Mathis LePage on the inside, Nico Roscosh on the outside, and now behind. And it looks like Mario Carrasco's caught up to this battle now. Whoa, I did not mean to click away from that. No, go back. There was a little bit of contact there between the two of them, but it does look like Maldini stays out in front. Salazar not giving up yet, though, as he really pushes it through there and manages to catch that slide. My goodness. But now we are inside the 5-minute mark, so there's really not a lot of opportunities left for Salazar to try and make this pass happen. I think he knows it. Oh, and a little bit of oversteer there, trying to get the power down. Let's take a look at Timothy Jabadal, looking to make up another position here. He's down 5 positions, qualifying in P8, so that might explain the, I don't know, looks like he's making it look easy. I don't know if these are easy passes, but they have been clean. Roscosh looking for any way to get around LePage, but LePage is just making that Porsche as wide as the track is. Uh-oh, and Mathis LePage loses the back end and unfortunately opens the door to both Nico Roscosh and Mario Carrasco to get through. and gets it back on the track just before Matheus LePage can also, or excuse me, Mateus Alves can find his way through as well. Timothy Jabadal is caught up to Ryan Garrity again. McLaren looks to the inside, slots back in behind the Ferrari. All right, Anthony, hey, you enjoy the rest of your evening, my friend. Big move by Jabadal on the outside. The Ferrari on the inside, though, has an easy job defending it, but he's going to have more speed through here and has to get on the brakes to avoid a collision. Let's see if he can get the power back down in time. It is still wheel to wheel between these two. McLaren going the long way around here. Owen looks to the inside and goes for the move. Now just one corner to go, and it is side by side as the McLaren pulls out in front and gets the power down first. That's going to be another position gained by Timothy Jabadal, and Ryan Garrity can't do anything about it until the end of this straight. It doesn't look like the Ferrari is closing that gap much as they come up the hill now onto the brakes into turn one. Oh, and Jabadal overcooks it, locks up, and that lets Garrity back through. Let's take a look at the battle for P5 here. Zach Doran in P5 under fire by Andreas Specht. Oh, and Matheus LePage has a yellow flag. Oh, and he is way outside there, unfortunately, and finds his way back in behind or in front of Milan Pitch, who goes the long way around and is able to avoid collecting him. And it does look like Andreas Specht able to get that pass done on the straight. But Zach Doran right behind him. And that is going to be, I believe, the move done for Andreas Specht. Oh, but a little bit out wide. Opens the door to the Porsche to gain just a couple more inches on him as the leader begins the final lap of this race. Whoops, wrong car. Oh, and that explains it. Look at the front of that Porsche. We could not see that one from the cameras. So he is going to be dealing with a boatload of understeer, and that explains why Andreas Specht just able to dance around him. I wonder where that damage came from. Let's take a look back here. Looks like Ben Burchett just gains a position on Matheus LePage. Juan Paredo, ooh, yellow flagged and parked on the outside there. That may be his day done. Samuel Costa looking to make a move here on Ross Sparrow. Samuel Costa also having a fantastic drive here, up 6 positions since the start of the race. Let's check in on our race leader here. It looks like he's just now getting into what I have coined the horseshoes. Name rechange pending. Timothy Jabadal has gotten back up behind Ryan Garrity. And it looks like Javier Salazar under a bit of fire there by Mario Carrasco. Zach Doran still trying to get the position back from the Aston Martin there, but I got to get us over to Matt Byrne as he rounds the final corner and will win race 2 as well in the Ferrari. And there we go, crossing the line, Matt Byrne in P1. Going to be followed by Xu Chen quite a ways back in P2. Peter Augusto in P3. James Morris is going to be rounding the final corner now. And James Morris will bring in 4th place for race 2. Andreas Specht and Zach Doran right behind him in P4 and 5, or excuse me, 5 and 6 respectively. Ross Sparrow going to cross the line in P7. Samuel Costa right behind him in P8. Michael Yaknis coming around the final bend now in P9. Luis Velez now sorting through. It's like Steve Poe, Ryan Garrity, and Timothy Jabadal are going to finish this race, or this train of 3 in 10, 11, and 12. Timothy Jabadal right behind him in P13. Mateus Alves in P14. Mario Carrasco side by side with Javier Salazar coming around the final corner. And Javier Salazar able to squeeze out the position coming around the final bend. And that's going to be followed by Maldini, Melanpich, and Ben Burchett. Literally down to the wire there. Mathis LePage coming around the final bend now. As goes Nico Roscosh. Troy Guter coming down. And that's going to be Nicholas Armillo behind him. Which just leaves Jose Arthur, I believe, as the final car out on the track. And as Jose Arthur rounds the final corner, he will finish this race here at Circuit of the Americas. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. And that is COTA down. I'm gonna go ahead and, again, wrap this stream up, but man, what a race. What an insane race that turned out to be. We had a lot of messy driving, if I'm being completely honest. The stewards are going to have their hands full reviewing the incident report channel after this race, but big congratulations to Matt Byrne for being our winner in both race 1 and 2. Xu Chen finishing in 2nd in, I believe, is in race 1 and 2 as well. Peter Augusto finishing race 2 in P3, James Morris in P4, Andreas Specht in P5, Zach Doran in P6, Ross Sparrow in P7, Samuel Acosta in P8, Michael Yaknis in P9, and Luis Velez to round out the top 10 of race 2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for me tonight. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in and watched the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. It's definitely fun for me when we get to shake up the formula a little bit and run a different format than we ordinarily would get to. If you're wanting to see some more racing, we are going to be at Nürburgring next week, which is going to be another very, very interesting track, a particularly difficult track, and it can lead to a lot of very tight racing. So tune in for that next week. If you haven't already, hit that follow button, like the stream. It does help us get more viewers on these things week by week. And yeah, that's about it. That's it for me. So thank you again, everybody, for watching. We hope to see you next week at the Nürburgring. My name is Matt McAdams, and I will see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.